What is going on, Hive? Happy Monday. It's July 14th, 2025. I got the audio coming in loud and clear. You know, this is the first stream that I haven't worn my birdie hat, and instead I got a new Hive hat and the jersey. It says Hive. On the back, though, I wanted it to say birdie. Look at what it ended up saying. This is pretty funny. I don't know if you guys can see that. It says Birdino. I don't know where the hell that came from, but I guess that's what you get when you order a custom patch jersey off a website that just has the best price. So, anyways, with that being said, I hope everybody had a great Monday. As always on Mondays, I have a Hive favorite Devil's Advocates on as a guest, so he is backstage. I'm excited to chat with him. I see Chantelli Lace is in the house. We got Nick, Carrie, and Sharon, Holly, Pamela, Phoenix. Phoenix is laughing at that. Birdino is right. I actually kind of like it. It's different. You know, I got a couple other ones that just say Birdie. Why not have one that says Birdino? What's going on? 509 Sandra. What's up, Tooney? D Smalls, Diane, Hood Fairy, one of the TikTok OGs. Amanda, welcome. I'm glad you could make the live as well. Moto Man, appreciate that super chat, brother. Hope you had a great Monday. Thank you so much. Belinda, I love you guys as well. ATL Drew and ATL Ashley. That's right. Thank you to Moto Man. Mercedes says Birdino. That's a new nickname. Hey, there's worse. There's worse. What's going on, Carrie and Smiley, Tammy, Sharon? If you are in here, or I'm Susan or Sharon. Hang on, let me just double check because. Yeah, Susan, I got your email. I got to go check my PO box. So I do have a PO box. Susan bought me a jersey, so I'm excited to see it. Apparently, it's a Hulk jersey for when I crash out about my audio, so I might have to just have that on deck and be ready to put that one on at any given point. Thank you so much, Susan. I appreciate that. If there is anybody, I'm not asking you guys to, but if there's anybody that does want to send a jersey or a hat or something cool, if it's your guys' company and you want me to wear it on a stream, I'm more than happy to. So just reach out to me, birdiebombshell00@gmail.com, and I will get you the PO box to do so. Big Mike Birdino. I agree. Let's do this. So while I get ready to have Devil's Advocates up here, let's see where everyone's tuning in from. Phoenix gets the top dog comment to start the stream. House the Birdino. I'll rock an Auburn jersey for sure. We got New Jersey, Euphoric, a little bit early, but they're tuning in from Mars, Kansas, Albuquerque, Illinois, Arkansas, North Texas, Michigan, Indiana, the Midwest, Dublin. Love that. The Hive down under, South Africa, Georgia, Germany, Washington Coast, New Jersey, Southern Indiana, Naples, Florida, middle of nowhere, Ohio. I always say it, Doug. That is not the Doug Wilson from the church. Doug Wilson from Ohio. Minnesota, the great Birdino. Scotland, Canada, Coeur d'Alene, Bluebonnet Fields in Texas. Serbia. Nice. Welcome. Columbus, Texas, Ohio, Buffalo, Manitoba, Maryland Beach, the dog park for Mrs. Birdie. Well, at least you're tuning in, honey. Well, I will go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and bring Devil's Advocates up. What's good?
What's going on? I saw some West Coasters and some Spokane people in your feed, so I was like, oh, that's very cool. It's close to home for me. So,
oh yeah, yeah. And thank you, South Georgia Stacker, for the $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. So, DA, how you been, man?
Still recovering from our Friday drink fest. That was horrendous on that After Dark show. But other than that, I'm pretty good. It feels like this has been a really long week, and I don't know why. But yeah, I've been good. How about you?
I've been great. I actually surprisingly felt pretty good, seeing as how I was in the Discord till whatever hour. Then I was like tired, but I was also like not that tired. So I went onto the couch, watched TV, and then Mrs. Birdie is waking me up in the morning because I fell asleep on the couch. So it was quite a rowdy night for like a Discord after dark, but it was fun. If you guys were in there, I apologize on the stream the other time too for the audio issues. As you guys know, I don't know what the hell happens. It's great and then it's not, but we got it figured out. And thank you, DA, for having me over on that. And everybody that tuned in from the Hive. Thank you guys for popping over, and that was fun.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, not too often because you can't do that on a regular basis. But yeah,
we can try.
My wife will be a little concerned if I drink that much.
Yeah. So, dude, I saw today you just put out a couple new pieces of content. One of them was you were texting me about. You want to kind of maybe start the stream talking about that?
Yeah, I did. I had an inspiration to do my top 5 reasons why Brian Coberger took or changed his plea to guilty, followed by another video, which is the top 5 reasons that I ranked on why the prosecution would be willing to offer a plea deal. So those videos are doing pretty well, getting lots of views and comments, mostly not hatred. So that's cool. And then I started watching, by the way, I got James Patterson's new book, and I recorded the first chapters, the prologue. There were 3 chapters in the prologue, so I read the first 3 chapters and did a series for my book review on that. That's available for members only until tomorrow morning when it posts for the public. So yeah, pretty excited about getting into that book as well. So
nice, man. That's awesome. And so we were also talking about like a theme for the night, and yeah. As you know, I mean, I don't have the screen shared right now, but usually I do kind of the center stream right here. And then I have like the easy button that's just like, tell the truth, because ultimately it is that easy to just tell the truth. And I was texting you, which again, for everybody in the Hive, or at least myself, and probably 99% of the times, tonight included, we don't really know what we're going to necessarily talk about other than the theme. And I like that personally. I think it has the conversation flow better. It's not scripted. It's kind of just off the cuff. But we were talking about like whether or not the truth is found, as long as the media has the collective masses agreeing that they told us the truth, is there any other goal or measurement that they go off of as far as success? And I don't think there is. You know, like, I think I've used the example of how breaking news is broken, as cliche and corny as that sounds. You're at the gym in the morning on the treadmill, and you see breaking news. Well, they already have the entire story done. There's like nothing they're looking for. You ever notice that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's part of the problem with 24-hour news stations, right? Is they have to keep talking about something, and so they just rehash the same things over and over again. Because how do you fill up 24-hour news station if you're not constantly talking? And sometimes you have to repeat it all day long, and it gets crazy.
Yeah, it's you do this thing called lie. That's what you do. Yeah, you just lie to everybody. But like, we were talking about it. Obviously, we've been talking a lot about the Idaho 4, and I know there's a lot of people that feel like this case is just getting started. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that this case is coming to an end, but as far as like the updates that are going to be coming out via the court docs, I mean, that sentencing is what? A week away? Yeah, a week away. So,
and in 2 days, well, here's the thing. Did you see, what's the date today? The 15th?
14th.
I think the 14th. So the 17th is supposedly a Zoom meeting where they're going to talk about lifting the gag order on some documents, but or maybe all of it. But I don't see them releasing it. They may agree to releasing the gag order, but I don't see them doing it until sentencing is done. Although, look at this. Let's see. What are the dates on those? Is that some new stuff?
So this is these two were posted today. So this is a order sealing Exhibit S1. Wait, so based upon the state's motion to seal Exhibit S1, the state's...
I think S1 was part of the psychological stuff.
No, I thought that was the suspect vehicle.
Mm.
And this one, you know what? There's a very easy solution to this. What you can do is this.
S1 is a grand jury testimony, Phoenix said.
What was it? I thought S1 was always kind of out for debate, or wasn't it suspect vehicle? I don't know. I feel like there's so much of it that now I'm just like...
Regardless of the thing, it's going to be interesting to see if they really do start unsealing documents and how that's going to change anything. I can't imagine they would ever run the risk of unsealing documents that can change the narrative that they put out there. So that'll be interesting. And then the other thing is again, I don't see them actually releasing sealed documents until after sentencing, because technically there's this weird possibility that Coberger could change his plea again before the sentencing, but I just don't see that happening. But
so this just says, obviously, so the state, I told it to explain it to me like I'm 10. So if it sounds like it's like to a 10-year-old, that's why. But it says gave the judge the Exhibit S1 as part of their answer to one of Brian's many requests for information. The state said, "Hey, judge, we want to keep this secret from the public because it has stuff in it that people shouldn't see." And the judge said, "I'll allow it, seal it up. No one can see it except the people in this case." So now Exhibit S1 is locked away and hidden from the public, the media, and maybe even parts of the defense. So they're definitely trying to keep whatever S1 is from getting into the public eye. I've always wondered too if like what we've speculated on the evidence being is really the evidence. Like, oh, dude, I was watching that Amazon documentary, and this is what just made me think of that. Remember how they kind of had? Did you watch the full series yet, DA?
I did, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you remember the part about how they started talking about Papa Rogers?
Yes.
And how they pretty much they thought it was Brian Coberger?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
There was something that clicked for the first time when I was listening to them talk about the Papa Rogers posts. And when you think about it, they hadn't released the quote unquote murder weapon. They had just said it was a sharp object. Right. And so if you look at the Papa Rogers post, like he's somebody that's assuming, like that makes me feel like they didn't find the murder weapon. They maybe found a sheath. Like if you're studying crime or criminology, or if you know, like I don't think that would take a genius to really put two and two together to make that claim.
It's funny because you had the opposite reaction that I did, which was essentially that they said that the wounds were caused with a fixed bladed sharp weapon, and then the comment from Papa Rogers was something to the effect of, they've said that it was a sharp edged weapon, so I'm assuming they found the sheath. And I'm like, I had the opposite reaction. I'm like, there's no way you would jump to the conclusion that if the wounds were created by a sharp object, that means they must have found the sheath. Like you can tell if something's created with a sharp instrument without having a knife sheath or not. So I don't know.
That's true.
But so I don't know. Like I do remember I was really they really made a big deal of trying to lay out that they thought at least that's the impression I got, that they were saying that they think it was Coberger that was posting as Papa Rogers. A lot of people think it was law enforcement that was posting as Papa Rogers, or another person that was related to the crimes. But they seemed to really, I got the impression they were trying to hit that it was Coberger posting as Papa Rogers.
Yeah, they definitely made it seem that way, and I guess whatever. Maybe we had different opinions on that. I guess my thought was maybe somebody who knows, like, hey, if they don't find the murder weapon, but then they're still releasing details about the weapon, they must have found some other piece of it. Like, I don't know how you could do that to any other type of weapon, like a gun. It could be like you found shell casings. Well,
right.
I don't know. But I want to get through a couple slides here, and then we can dive in. So a couple of quick announcements. I have the Hive Mind Roundtable coming up on July 27th. That's going to be the last Sunday of every month. This is at 7 p.m. Central. I've had some great people submit for this. You don't even have to be somebody who's got this big overarching theory. It can just be you've been tuning in, you have a couple things that you want to say, like, don't feel any pressure that you have to come in super prepared. If you guys watched the last one, it's a very, free flowing conversation. And then also, just as a reminder, I am on Discord. That link is in the YouTube channel bio. I have Mrs. Birdie and Dawn, who are awesome. Dawn from the Hive got that all set up, and it's been going really, really good. And we have a thread in there for cases to look into next. So that'll be exciting, because I think it'll be fun to do one that we maybe discuss in the Discord, and we can dive in and do the live dig. So that is free to join. It's also free to subscribe. I've seen some comments the past couple streams, so I've made it a point each time to say, when you press subscribe, you do not have to pay money. It's just like following somebody. If anything, it's just going to have the videos of the people you subscribe to pop up on your homepage. So that's what the button looks like. Go ahead and click that. Now, were you on, DA, the last time? Did I start this when you were on last time, or is this brand new?
I don't think so. Yeah, I'm new.
So I've been pretty much doing like some sort of meme that I'm not going to say would offend people, but it's just like, we would find it funny, but like an NPC is going to crash out over it. So if you've ever seen The Office, let me take the comments down. It says, when the FBI, Moscow PD, Steve G, and an insider all drop different versions of the story.
Right.
I mean, that's literally what the beginning of this was like. I mean, which that show is awesome. That's like my like comfort show. Like if I can't sleep, I'll throw on The Office, or I'll throw on like South Park or something like that. What's your go-to show?
Yeah, South Park was one of them for sure. But yeah, I don't know that I have one now, but South Park would probably be in my top one. But this was a great show. That Office was amazing. Yeah, for sure.
My wife is obsessed with Lucas Lagoon's Insane Pools Off the Deep End. Have you ever seen that? It's like they do custom pools in like Sarasota, Florida, and like she'll just walk around and be like, we need to have a grotto waterfall over here. And I'm like, oh my God, you've been watching that again, haven't you? So, and then I have one Hive Mind find. This one, I would say, probably put a tinfoil hat on. It is interesting. So this person had said, hi, Birdie, found this interesting. Why would it be hard for Kaylee to hear? She's not here anymore. What's your thoughts? Love your work. Cheers. So this is interesting, because this is obviously an interview, and like many things in this case, you understand what they're trying to say with the overarching context, but the way that it's said, like the whole Maddie bought a house. Do you know the analogy I'm talking about, DA?
No. Maddie bought a house?
Well, like Chrissy and Steve, it was the interview with Chrissy and Steve sitting on the couch, and then Chrissy like disappears. Like the lawyer's on the screen with them. She like talks about almost like in like present tense or like future tense. So this is like another one of those examples where is it a Freudian slip, or is it just like said weird and it's a coincidence that she says it this way?
We know who he is, and that was obviously not.
Let me turn it up. Sorry.
We know who he is, and that was obviously not the case in any way possible. I think it was also hard because when it came to Kaylee, like she thought the best of Jack. Like she looked at Jack and just knew how great of a person he was, and so I think to think about her hearing these things was super hard.
So that person was like, obviously, I think the person who sent this Hive Mind find, which again, that's, if you have something, whether it's this case, a conspiracy about another case, it's birdiebombshell00@gmail.com. But yeah, they do make a good point. Like, why would it be hard for Kaylee to hear this if she's gone? Now you could say, well, she is talking about how it's hard to hear them talk about Jack because Kaylee would know that none of it would be true.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting, I get why people focused on that comment for sure, the way it was worded. I think it's funny too, just that for me, again, it was out there in the narrative that Kaylee and Jack had broke up 3 weeks prior. She moved out of the house 3 weeks prior, and supposedly they were seen at the corner club together, and there was a terse moment. And yet this show was like, oh, she was great with Jack. She thought he was great. They were perfect, and I'm thinking, really, was that what's going on? Because like a whole bunch of other evidence says that they were on the outs and that they were having problems and that there was a terse engagement with them at the bar that night. But they're still trying to paint that, oh yeah, they were perfect. They had no issues. There was nothing going bad between the two of them. Like, okay. But,
yeah, no, it's weird. And it's kind of like we've gone over this stuff so many times. We've gone over the grub truck footage. We've gone over that. And that's why I think when you start to talk about the narrative itself, this narrative has been like bulletproof. No matter, I've said that I think before, where it's like, no matter how many things we point out, no matter how many people release something or they leak something. I went on a tangent yesterday about how that Amazon series is a production, bro. Like that, that is taking months and months, lots of money put into it, lots of coordinating, scripting, editing, promoting. And I started to wonder, like, Amazon didn't have to move their release date at all. And there just so happened to be a plea deal a week and a half right before the release date. And then you look at like the leaked messages with Steve G and that creator about the book, and like the Patterson book was being talked about like a year and a half, 2 years ago. And now there's this plea deal. It's like, it made me think, Amazon, that would be terrible business on Amazon's part. If the world news case, probably one of the biggest homicide cases ever, they're responsible for getting a murderer off the hook because they leaked something. Same thing with Dateline. Like, why did they know that was going to be okay? They knew it was never going to go to trial.
Yeah.
But what did it do? You want to know who it served as well? It served the overarching prosecution with their narrative, because there's not yet to be anything outside of streams or alt media that has even had a shred of looking at something contrarily for Brian's sake.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a one-sided narrative, and it's going to get harder for us to talk about it, in my opinion, because again, I caveat this: if things really do get unsealed, and if the unsealed documents suddenly shed light into exactly what happened, and it becomes clear, which I don't believe that's the case, or we would have heard more from the stand from Bill Thompson when they were outlining what their case was. But anyways, if there does something come out, then great. But I feel like it's going to get harder and harder to talk about it, because this is the only story that's going to get told over and over. It's like, I was just going on a rant, and I'll try to make this brief. I was just going on a rant today. Every single thing I watch talks about Brian Coberger was obsessed with Maddie. There's been absolutely no support for that whatsoever anywhere, not even remotely. The biggest thing you've got is a guess. Maybe he went to the Mad Greek restaurant one time, and maybe he saw her there, and maybe when he saw her, he became obsessed with her, and that is it. There's no evidence he ever was at Mad Greek restaurant, and yet every single effing documentary and book that comes out talks about Brian Coberger was obsessed with Maddie. Where did they get that? They're just repeating the same bullshit over and over again. There's absolutely no support for it. And it's going to become, the sad thing is, it's going to become the narrative. 5 years from now, he's going to be like, oh yeah, you know that he was obsessed with Maddie. Why? Because they told you so many times, you eventually started believing the bullshit, because there's been no support for that whatsoever.
There's been none. I mean, for God's sakes, Bill Thompson got up and made it very, very clear to start his version of the PCA or the evidence that they had and what they were about to prove. And he wanted to make it clear that there was no sexual motive to this case, which is interesting because that's all we heard. And same thing with the Maddie point. But, on a bigger scale, you said, why is everybody saying that? And I want to ask you, so what are your cases that you're looking into now? I know obviously Luigi, I know the Gilgo murders or the Gilgo Beach. Didn't you say one other one?
I've been thinking about Tyree Nichols. I've been thinking about Travis Decker. Oh my God, I got to tell you something about Travis Decker too.
Did you end up seeing him in a woods on a hike? Was it him?
No. Actually, a recent they got a hold of the guy that they thought was Travis Decker, and it turned out it wasn't him. So we don't know if he was down there in Idaho or not. So the last known is there's nothing we know about Travis Decker. Here's what's crazy, though. I want to say this because I'm afraid of looking like an idiot. I saw somebody sent me a link yesterday and told me you need to watch this video about the Idaho 4, and they said skip ahead to hour and 16 minutes into this guy's video. It seemed like the YouTuber had like 99,000 followers, so I should fucking know who the guy is, I guess. Because
what is it?
I would have to find it, but let me tell you the gist of it. It was a guy ranting about how Travis Decker was the cleaner who killed everybody at the house in Idaho 4. And I'm like, where the hell did this come from? But here's the thing. Before I get too far down that rabbit hole, he had so many things wrong. He said that's why he had to kill everyone in the house. Well, he didn't kill everyone in the house, whoever did it, because there was 2 survivors left. He also said that's why he killed the 4 girls. He didn't kill 4 girls. He killed 3 girls and a guy. So if the guy can't get the basic facts right, I'm not sure how far down the rabbit hole I'm going to go with him. Travis Decker was the cleaner that night, because he already can't even get the basics of the story right, saying that everybody in the house was killed and they were all girls, which were 2 facts that are not correct. So I don't know.
Wait, so was it meant to be taking serious? Like,
yeah, he was going on and on about this whole thing. He kept, and so maybe people will know who I'm talking about when I say this. His big thing was ultraviolence. This is all about ultraviolence, which is like a caveat to the old Clockwork Orange. It's the old ultraviolence, So, anyways, he's talking about Travis Decker did this thing and showing a picture of him and pointing out that Decker went in there as the cleaner because something went wrong. He was talking about. And again, I only heard the periphery of it. He was talking about how people were brought in to stalk girls on purpose, and Brian Coberger was part of this thing to watch stalkers stalk girls, and something went wrong and somebody killed somebody. And when that happened, they couldn't let out what was going on, so they sent in the cleaner, which was Travis Decker, to go kill everyone in the house. And I'm like, I'm out because everyone in the house wasn't killed, and they weren't 4 girls, and you're getting so many things wrong already. I can't, and I don't even know why I'm spending the time talking about it now, because I'm repeating what obviously I think it hasn't been fully thought through. But anyways,
I feel like, so did they? Now I'm curious, DA. Thank you for this, because now my wheels are turning. Are like, does this guy know something that we all don't know? Like,
all right, let me see if I can. I'm going to see if I can find that guy's thing real quick for you.
So,
but anyways, go ahead.
But when has Decker been on the run since? I thought he wasn't until like mid 24.
Yeah, just recently. He's only been on the run for like a month or so, I think. So, but yeah, I don't know. And in fact, one of the things he was talking about is, why do you think he went on the run? What were they after him for? And it was kind of like the Idaho thing was catching up to him, was the suggestion, it seemed like. And I'm like, I just like I said, I didn't want to go too far down, but now that you're pressing me a little bit, I'll see if I can find the link for you, and we can pull it up, and everybody can go like, oh yeah, that guy. How come you didn't tell me it was that guy? That guy's got good shit. We'll see.
Do you know the only thing that I'm thinking of?
Huh.
Okay. Obviously that guy got the details wrong, but now I'm starting to think about, like, are there any other people that, like, after Coberger's arrest, did they go on the run, or did they like kill their family, or did they? Do you know what I mean? Like,
I found it, man. I don't know how you feel about doing things on the fly.
Wait, hang on. You don't know how I feel about doing things on the fly, bro.
I do know how you feel about doing
Hive,
things on the fly.
let them have it.
How long have I been on your show? I don't know. Okay, so the YouTuber, and like I said, maybe everybody knows who this guy is George Webb. And I'm going to post his video link here in your show. And hopefully it'll be
the title of it.
Okay, so there's the link. It's the title of the show is "When an FBI Program Goes Horribly Wrong: The Idaho Fireman Massacre." So he's tying it into the Idaho firemen as well. And the time frame to start, if you wanted to start where I started, is 1 hour and 16 minutes and 20 seconds in. And he starts talking about Travis Decker, and then he goes into, somebody asks a question about Coberger and whether they think the firefighters are involved, and off he goes on the whole Travis Decker thing.
Well, part of this is that we should, I'll check in with the Hive. Hive, type of one if you want to check it out. I'm a little bit curious, but I do think it might be important to just like hear him out. If it's completely wrong, then we know. He does have 99,000 subs.
That's what I thought. I'm like, he has nearly 100,000 subs, and he had like major parts of the story incorrect. So I just don't know.
Well, a lot of people seem to be wanting to watch it. So
on the fly.
Yep. So here we go. This is the video. You said 116. That's it. All right. Here we go.
Yep. See, you got Travis Decker behind him on the pictures.
Yep.
Easy peasy. GeorgeWebb.substack.com, and just be a reader. You can also be Buy Me a Coffee if you don't want to be a subscriber. I think I earn my money. I think I earn my $8 a month. I spend.
You could probably skip ahead till you see a question pop up. You'll pin a
I
comment
don't
about
make money doing this.
the Idaho 4. Right there.
I rely on the kindness of strangers at times. I rely on the kindness of strangers, and I try to stay away from. I think I'm related any way I do. I think that's the Old Ultraviolence. No, if you think the Idaho is related in any way I do. I think that's the Old Ultraviolence again.
Well, to the firefighter.
I know how I pled. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, it's the Old Ultraviolence. The best way to scare the bejesus out of every parent in America is to murder their kid in college. It's every parent who has a kid in college's fear, especially if you have a girl, right, in college. And I've been through it both, right? It's every parent who has a kid in college's fear that there's going to be somebody who comes to the college, a Bundy type character, and kills their kid, right? There is few fears that get your attention more than that. And that is a perfect opportunity for the Old Ultraviolence, right? I'm not saying that Coberger wasn't a wheelman. I'm not saying he wasn't talked into, hey, we're doing a criminology study. You're a criminology PhD. We're looking into the minds of the sick minds of people who track women, right? We have to pick a couple of women, to.
Well, right there, he's kind of going with the narrative of this was something about stalking.
Right, and he alleges, he'll go on to explain, he alleges that there was a program going on where they were bringing men into Moscow to stalk women and then basically watch them on how they stalk women and whatever, and this whole big long thing that Coberger was supposedly involved with.
Entrap these sick men who endlessly follow these girls on Instagram or whatever they do. Will you be a part of that? Will you be a part of filming the men that come? I think about 12 ended up coming to Moscow. Will you film them? Will you come down and be a part of this thing? As the conversation goes back and forth, right? And then they come to Moscow, will you film them? Will you drive down there? Yes. But something went horribly wrong because then they sent the cleaner in. Something went horribly wrong. Now, I'm not saying Coberger wasn't guilty. I'm not saying he wasn't driving these people in and he wasn't a part of some kind of weird FBI criminology study. He was a criminology PhD. I'm not saying he wasn't involved, and I'm not saying he didn't have contact. I'm not saying he didn't go to the Mad Greek restaurant. I'm not saying any of that. I think he did. But they want to create, FBI wants to create a case where it's all Palantir Gotham. There's no witnesses. There's no humans. They want to create a precedent where Palantir Gotham convicts you. Remember, Palantir Gotham does pre-crime. So it's Minority Report. It predicts that you're going to do the crime. And then they want to then convict you on all machine-driven and generated evidence. Okay, and they're almost there. Right, and this is so they're using the fear of every parent, right? Because it's a leap constitutionally where a machine.
So he's not saying anything that's wrong as far as like kind of using a tragedy to allow. I've said it before, but it's like use a tragedy while people can emotionally palate, overstep on your rights. They say they're only going to use this technology or this way to catch the monster that one time. And then we all know after the fact, it's going to be the regular. So he's not wrong. But I don't understand. He hasn't really, does he end up getting to like how they know each other?
No. Well, I only watched a little past this, but like I said, he what he said already is this crime was done so that there was no witnesses. Well, there were witnesses. 2 people survived the crime, and he says everybody was killed in the house, so he's wrong about that. He said there were 4 women that were killed. It wasn't just 3 women. The guy. So he's got several facts wrong, but he never really directly connects Coberger. What he indicates is that Coberger was watching men that the FBI was having him film and study and whatever, and that's the reason why he was around the area when things went wrong. And when they went wrong, they sent in, like the FBI sent in the cleaner, Travis Decker, who was a hired killer and knows how to and trained to kill people, to go kill everyone in the house so there would be no witnesses left, which again makes no sense because there were witnesses left. So it just, again, it's like one of those things that I was kind of like, man, he's got so many basic facts wrong. I don't know how far I'll go with them down this rabbit hole, you know?
So, but I just looked up when the first time that Decker was like first on a bolo, and it was like Q3 2023. But that's as much as I can really find. I mean, now the other thing that was weird, because there's rumors about Decker being like, what do they call that? A contractor, like a private contractor type thing. Wasn't that? Do you know anything about that?
No. I just know that he was. I think he was a ranger as well.
He was former military, yeah. So like
Army Ranger, yeah.
Well, let's watch a couple more minutes of this and see what he says.
Yeah, there's not. Yeah, go ahead.
Is now convicting you versus a human, right?
Nobody's talking trash either. Favorite uncle. I've never seen this video. I've never heard of. I have heard of George Webb. Yes, but I didn't know he was talking about Idaho 4 or anything like this.
This is the first machine conviction ever. This is the first Palantir.
See, I have to stop it. I'm sorry. That's literally what we've been talking about with this study and the research and the funding. I mean, we were going in on it yesterday. Like, is Brian Coberger literally the study? Is this Ramsland's project? Is Ramsland running this project for what he's describing here?
Gotham conviction, right? And it's going to convict you on metadata. And it's all metadata. It's the old metadata. It's all generated. We got your cell phone. We got your license plate. We got your automated license plate reader. We got the cameras that are synced with the automated license plate reader. We're going to place you in this place. We can bring you in as an informant and say we're going to do some kind of criminology study of these weirdos that are tracking these girls on Instagram and people who are fixated or obsessed with college girls, you know, gone wild, you know, on Instagram, right? And then see if they actuate. And we got to film them actuating. So you're going to have to go down to the Mad Greek. You're going to have to film these weirdos actuating their stalking of these girls, right? And I'm not saying that Coberger didn't do that. He was the guy who went down there and filmed these weirdos, right? But what you're missing is the larger FBI program here. And then it goes horribly wrong. Right? And then one of the guys ends up, you know, killing the girl. And then you got to send in the cleaner and kill everybody, right? And that's the PhD in psychology is not a trained killer. He can't go through a house in 5 minutes and kill everybody silently. That's something you learn in trained killer school. And people are saying, well, you're being so mean to this mass murderer who killed his own children. You're being so tough on Travis Decker because he killed all of his own kids. Put plastic bags on their head and zip tied them behind their heads and threw them down a gully. You're being so mean to him. Well, he would be in jail, right? If he wasn't state-sponsored, right? He's obviously state-sponsored. We knew this from the beginning. What was Travis Decker running from at the border when he's 11 miles from the border in Wenatchee or Chelan? What's he running from to kill his kids? What's he running from? The cleaner. He's the cleaner. He was the cleaner. Something went horribly wrong where one of the girls, it went too far. She was stalked and then raped or murdered. And now you got to send the cleaner in. And everybody dies. When the cleaner goes in, he kills everybody in the house. No questions. So maybe it's only one. If
you don't think that the U.S. military, the FBI, or the DOJ has those type of people too, let's let's all take a second here to at least acknowledge the fact that while that sounds unbelievable, I would say if there's any country that has that capability to do that, it's probably us, where we would hide it like we wouldn't do it, but we could. Would you agree, DA?
I certainly think there are people in the government that have that kind of role. Yes.
I don't know, because there's like little shreds of there's stuff in here where I'm like, I've never thought about that. Everybody's looked at Brian as the cleaner. What if DA, I know you get uncomfortable. You did this to me now.
I know. If there was any place I was going to do it, it's on your show. Because I'm like, I wouldn't do this on mine, but I'll do it on your show.
Yeah, let's just burn Birdie's show down. Who cares about him?
Hey, it's all good. You go with things a little faster than I do, which is okay. Which is why I kind of like your show, because when I'm here, I'm flying by the seat of my pants. I never know what's going on.
And that's what the Hive loves. And
yeah,
I would say too, man, like let it fly. Don't be worried. We're not going to stop you, but. There is an interesting point, because now that he's saying like Brian was the one filming them and Brian was this. Chat, I'm speculating here, but I start thinking about it is a little bit weird how the one time somebody comes out and says, oh, no, it wasn't sexual. There was no stalking. There was nothing like that. It is kind of interesting that it's like when the entire world's watching and now you stop asking questions about like, was Brian really down at the Mad Greek filming them? Was that bartender's interview about him getting mad and storming out true? Did something go terribly wrong? And everybody's like, Brian was the cleaner. But it's really Brian accidentally killed one of them. And then Decker comes in from the top rope and just gets everybody. I don't know. And you're being quiet now, DA. You can speculate, bro.
Well, I mean, I don't know what to say other than, like I said, I mean, the problem I have that makes me super uncomfortable, there's no evidence whatsoever that Brian Coberger was filming anybody. I don't know what this guy even means when he says the government brought in 12. He has a very specific number. They brought in 12 guys to stalk girls on Instagram. I don't know what the hell that means. Where did he come up with the 12 guys? But when he says this guy came in and killed everyone in the house so there's no witnesses, that is wrong. There were witnesses. Unless there weren't any witnesses there and the whole story is made up and it didn't happen. But he says they killed everyone in the house because you can't leave any witnesses. There were witnesses that were left behind. Not everybody was killed. He walked right past Dylan and left her alive. He also, again, says he killed all 4 girls. He didn't kill 4 girls. It was 3 and 1 guy. So either this guy's right and we don't have the basics of the story right, and the whole house was wiped out and they were all girls and the media's been lying to us the whole time, or this guy doesn't have the basic facts right. So how far am I going to trust this guy telling me that Travis Decker's the cleaner? Because again, I'm not sure he has even the basics of the story right.
I mean, dude, there were rumors that there was another person killed in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, see, now this is where my head's spinning. Like, if we were lied to about the entire thing, what if the 2 other girls weren't there? They don't seem like they're there. What if it was 4 girls? What if Ethan? It was. Oh, Jesus Christ! See, everybody in the Hive too is.
What have I done?
I mean, are we even sure that we got any bit of the truth? I mean, he makes a good point. Like, if this was a test, if this was supposed to be a study or a test, and it went hot, and something went wrong, would they call in other people to cover it up or contain it? Probably. I don't see why. Who knows what they were testing? But if it's really just for like tracking and
so the part that I will absolutely go with you on this whole unscripted, I'm feeling uneasy and squaring my chair moment is that yes, if for example, let's take a hypothetical that I can go with. If, for example, Brian Coberger was, for example, funded to go to WSU on some kind of special scholarship and he was doing something special working with the feds, and if that had anything to do with that house, and if something went wrong that was unexpected that the feds weren't expecting, they would want to have their hands free of that fucking scene as quickly as possible and have no indication whatsoever that they might have been culpable in it or that they might have known it was coming or they didn't stop it or whatever. So I can see a scenario where if if the government was involved in any way, shape, or form in the house and something went wrong, that they would take steps to cover up their involvement in it so it doesn't look bad on them and blow back as somehow they were responsible, or that they're the ones that killed people, when they might be just simply like, let's get the fuck out of this and make sure nobody knew we were involved with this, because this just became a shit show. Especially if, for example, one of their assets, let's go down a little bit further. There's been rumors that Brent Kopacka was an asset for the government and that he was working with the feds to try to bust a drug ring. So if Brent Kopacka was a fed, for example, working with the feds to help bust a drug ring, and let's say a PTSD moment happens and he snaps. So the government didn't expect that shit. They got a former vet who's got PTSD, and he snaps and he does something unexpected. Now they have to divest their interest in him as immediately as possible and not let anybody know that he was on their payroll, because it'll look like they planned the killings, when may have been just an asset of theirs went rogue, and they're like, fuck, get away from this guy as quickly as possible. So anyways.
Well, dude, and you look at what MBKT Enterprises said. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Said, what about the video of the 4 operator looking guys that came in, faces concealed with the hats, the very start of the case? They say 30 minutes left. Everyone forgot them. It was the Cowboys, rumored to be the Marshals. Now, if there was wet work, I feel like the Marshal. I don't know if everybody understands too, like what a marshal is, but they play by a different set of rules. Like they have the longest leash, probably, I would say, as far as what they can do and what they can't. That at least is like known, probably carrying a badge that's maybe not like a black ops type thing. I don't know. I would guess they're probably up there. If not, they're the highest level.
And this is something I have recently been diving into. I don't know if you saw this, but I did point out the same video you're talking about, the Cowboys went into the house, which some people had speculated were Marshals. And if Marshals were going into 1122 King Road residence shortly after the murders, you have to ask why the fuck the Marshals there. The Marshals, one of the jobs of the Marshals is to protect confidential informants. So all these theories that basically says there's a confidential informant involved in the situation, that's exactly what Marshals do. Is they protect confidential informants. So if somebody's working with the FBI, the Marshals would help protect that person and add security. There were Marshals, and I said this just recently, there were Marshals all over the courthouse in Ada County, because Boise, Idaho is the headquarters of the Marshals in Idaho. So one could say, one might go down the rabbit hole, the reason why the trial was moved to Boise and Coberger was moved to Boise is because it's right where the headquarters of the Marshals are at. It put Coberger directly in control of the Marshals who are protecting him, because he might be possibly involved in some kind of witness protection. Now, the only counter to that is Marshals being in a courthouse to add extra security when it's a high profile case is not something that's unheard of. Marshals do that kind of thing, providing security. So were they there because somebody was in WITSEC, or were they there because they were just adding extra security because Coberger's probably the biggest trial they've had in that courthouse in a while, not a while at least.
Well, if you think that that's deep down a rabbit hole, DA, I do not mean any disrespect by this, but I don't even think Brian Coberger's a real person as of 2018. I went down the rabbit hole yesterday, bro. Did you hear about this?
No, I did not.
Hive, have my back on this one, because that shit was crazy. We're on a current dig for this. Professor Ramsland in 2019 did a study about school shooters. And when I ran Coberger's high school photos through this like analysis program on the AI, it linked it back to slide 16 with the subtitle Alex R as a profiling for a school shooter. And it was a 93% match with Brian Coberger's face. It also had said that his aging, the weight loss, all of the stuff, his earlobes, it went so deep on it, dude. And it was like, hang on. Because I was joking around. I'm like, is Brian Coberger even a real person? There's no digital footprint of him. All of the friends that have come out and talked about him have been post-arrest. They're like, his parents haven't said anything. There's what, one high school yearbook photo, two, maybe some. And then, dude, I forgot about this one. Dude, that supposed Snapchat photo in 2015. You want to know what the AI picked up on this?
Yeah.
There's a fucking iPhone in the back that didn't come out until 2018.
Oh, wow.
Yes, bro. Like, that is like, whoa, hang on. The metadata, all this shit, I'm not even joking. I was like standing up. Like, I was like hitting my desk and like I had a glass fall off on accident. Like, it was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, so go watch that stream. It's the one that I posted yesterday. But it was nuts. And here I'll show you this too, just because MBKT, I believe that's the username. So here is one of the cowboys. That's a Marshal badge.
I didn't see this one. I didn't see
Mama
the
Tata got me
badge.
this one. This is the only unblurred photo I've ever seen, and she sent me it.
Yeah, what the fuck were the Marshals doing in the house? What was the date of that? The 23rd? No, 20. What is the date there? 2023 0802.
Well, I don't know.
I'm trying to interpret that. Is that a date there or not?
I have no idea.
It could be. Oh yeah, August 2nd, 2023. Is that the date of that?
Yeah, but this looks like that same dude in the jacket that walks out to the van.
Yeah, several of them had like traditional cowboy hats on the video that I was thinking of were the Marshals. But yeah, that does look like a Marshals badge.
Hang on, and Corey, what are you saying that I wouldn't say in front of a professional like a? You know what? I would say it in front of a professional. I sat next to a U.S. Marshal on an airplane, and I figured it out because he had his laptop open when I sat down, and I saw the U.S. Marshal Secret Servicing, and I got it out of him by the end of the plane ride, and he showed me his badge. So I would say it.
That's
you want to know what? That guy, honestly, in my head, I'm like, now I'm just going to completely raw dog this flight. No headphones, no phone. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to get this guy to admit that he's the air marshal. He didn't admit he was the air marshal, but he was a U.S. Marshal, and he did flash a badge to the flight attendant. I'll tell you that much.
Might have had a fugitive in custody on the plane, maybe.
Maybe. He was sitting next to me. Was I the fugitive and I didn't know?
Yes. Now that's the greatest conspiracy theory ever. You've been under witness protection this whole time and you don't realize it.
Wait, am I Brian Coberger?
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, plot twist. Oh, man, that's hilarious. Well, I think we got the gist of that video that you were saying. I mean, ultimately, I don't know too much about the Marshals outside of like, yes, they're Secret Service, and I do know that each person in WITSEC has their own Marshal contact. I also do know that WITSEC uses hotbeds, right? So it's not like they're going to have WITSEC all over randomly in the country. Like they're going to try to have WITSEC individuals in a somewhat contained zone, if you would say, to protect them. It makes sense. But anyways, I'm glad you shared that. And like, I like watching that. And I don't know if it's just because I'm able to listen and not just be like, this guy's an idiot. Like, I don't know that guy. I'm listening to what he says. And it's like, at the same time, we're still going off of the PCA of like, Dylan saw him. How could
he's got a really big following, and there were people in your comments that was getting pissed off that we would even suggest that he could be wrong. And I don't know what to do with that, because the guy again was wrong about some basic facts. But yet but people in the things are like, how dare you question that guy? That guy's a badass. He's a top-notch investigative journalist. And I'm like, okay, I didn't know. Like, I
mean, I've heard of him, but I've never seen like his face. Like, I've heard of people talking about that dude. If that's the same like George Webb dude. But yeah, this is his page. If you guys want to go follow it or subscribe to it. Damn it, I just lost one of my thoughts. Oh, well, so I'm now unable to get out of my head. Did Brent Kopacka and Travis Decker know each other?
See, I can't remember what branch exactly Decker was in. I thought he was a Ranger, but I don't remember if he was even Army or not. Let me see if I can find that.
I know. Well, so Kopacka was the Army veteran.
Kopacka was 82nd Airborne paratrooper was Kopacka. So was Corporal Payne as well. But
it is kind of interesting. You look at it, Coberger, Kopacka, and Decker were all near Pullman, Washington at the exact same time in the same month.
All right, I'm pulling it up. I'm getting it right now from our trusty handy dandy source that gets us at least started on the right thing. And come on, United States Army, Washington National Guard, He was enlisted March 2013 as an 11B infantryman, deployed in Afghanistan for months, approximately 4 months in 2014. Expert infantry badge, parachutist. Oh God, here we go with the parachutist again. Parachutist badge. Served with the 503rd Infantry Regiment of the 173 Airborne Brigade Combat Team in Italy. So he was an Army, but it didn't say Ranger specifically, but it looks like he probably was Army Ranger, I guess. But
is there really no public incident report for Kopaka's killing? Is that true, Hive? Because I'm reading an article that says he was killed by a sniper via the SWAT team. There's no public incident report. Or is that talking about the no public incident report of what got the SWAT team there? So
now you got me searching for shit while we're live here. Hold on.
Good. That's great. We love live dig.
This is not in my wheelhouse, sir.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Come on.
Give me a second.
It could be in your wheelhouse tonight.
I had heard, however, you can't trust everything that ChatGPT says either, because obviously that makes mistakes. But I had heard that the U.S. Army was actually investigating Brent Kopaka's death in that shooting. But according to ChatGPT, no, the U.S. Army is not investigating Brent Kopaka's death. But we'll see. I'm looking to see if there's any facts that can tell us definitively if that was the case.
Hive, should we do a live dig and try to do the trifecta connection of Coberger, Kopaka, and Decker? Should we just say fuck it and do it? Thanks a lot, Devil's Advocates. Now you got us speculating on my channel. We never speculate over here. We do nothing.
I know you don't. I mean, this is way outside your wheelhouse. You never speculate and jump down a rabbit hole with both feet. Come on, man.
Oh man, let's see what everybody says. Type a 1 if you guys want to do it. DA, you gotta watch the chat, man. Let's see what the Hive wants.
All right, I'm searching for a question I don't even want to ask. So hold on a second. One. Give him the old number 1, Ricky.
Yeah, 1111 says this is the fuck it edition. That's what we should title this stream. I've only seen D Small saying no. And then UFO Dog saying Decker is not related.
Yeah. The question I asked was whether or not Travis Decker, Brent Kopaka, or Brett Payne ever served in Afghanistan at the same time. Not whether they were in the same combat unit, just whether they were in Afghanistan at the same time. According to this, they could not find any overlap. Travis Decker was deployed into Afghanistan in 2014 for only 4 months. Brent Kopaka and Brett Payne both served in the 82nd Airborne later. They appeared to have been in Afghanistan, but likely after 2014, possibly around 2017 or later. Travis was deployed in 2014. Brent and Brett later served in different years. No known overlap or deployment times, suggesting they were not in Afghanistan simultaneously.
Well, that's one source.
Oh, that's beautiful.
All right. Dude, I should play this for you guys. Here. I thought that, hang on. Yesterday on the stream, I told Sparky, because he's the guy that made my intro songs, which, did you hear those? Aren't those sick, dude?
Yeah. Did somebody record those for you?
Yeah. And then I said it yesterday, and I was like, hey, I need we're about to dive into some crazy shit, like a breaking news theme song sound. He already got one made. I'll play it right here. He's like, do with it what you want. So I'm curious. It's 26 seconds. Let's just see what this sounds like, huh? Oops. Wait, why is it going down there?
Got too many things queued up in your down below.
Oh, hang on. No, I got it. I got to do it this way. 1 second. I got to do it this way.
Yeah, while you're doing that, my buddy said the same thing. He's like, you need to find a musician to make you some custom music, because I get flagged for copyright use every time I use this guy's video or song that I paid for. I paid for the license. I have to submit a claim every single time I use a song, and they uphold my claim every time I use a song. And he's like, just get somebody to record your music. I'm like, that sounds way more expensive than buying somebody's already made song.
Well, you know what? I'm going to broker a deal. Hopefully make Sparky school with this. DA, we're going to take a poll at the end of this Hive, and if you speculate enough, maybe, just maybe, he'll make you an intro song.
But I got to go out there on the fucking limb and really speculate on something.
And we'll let the Hive determine that, because you know how we do it here. So Hive, do you think that's a fair deal? Because I think that's a fair deal. Here's the song. I'll play it real quick. This is just like if we have like a tinfoil hat or breaking news. So
this is a status alert.
Oops. Here it is.
This is a status alert. Please retrieve your nearest tinfoil hat. Place hat firmly on your head. Prepare yourself for a hive mind find. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I like this part right here.
Place hat firmly on your head.
Where he goes.
Please retrieve your nearest tinfoil hat. Place hat.
So I think that is in need for right now, because DA, welcome to your first ever live dig. So, all right. I need you to give yourself a prompt that allows you to go as deep as you can, but keep it factual. Keep it as factual as possible, and see if you can dig into documents, reports, etc., that would show Brian Coberger, Brent Kopaka, and I always want to say Travis. Yeah, I was going to say, who's that soccer player? Travis Beckham.
Yeah,
no,
Beckham.
Yeah,
no,
that's David Beckham.
David Beckham. Yeah. You're
Is that like a drummer too? I'm all over the place. All right, and Travis Dagger. Look into funding, backgrounds, connections that you as AI.
Oh, Travis Barker.
Yeah, Travis Barker. That's what I was thinking of. Can see, but we cannot as humans.
What have I done? You are dragging me down deep into the pit of despair here.
Welcome to hell.
Oh my God. All right, buckle up.
Yep, here we go. Dude, so look at the I'm going to go deep here. Enhance the prompt to make it even better, and you become the best, smartest version of yourself, and redo it to max strength. Yeah, everyone in the Hive's like, 509 Sandro goes, it's inconceivable. Oh yeah, I was thinking of that movie. Yeah, Bend It Like Beckham. My soccer name could be Berdino. That's kind of a badass last name if you were a soccer player, right?
Yeah.
All right. Dude, now, see, this is the prompt that it just gave itself. That's crazy. Here we go. Look at this prompt. That's insane. Yes, let's do it. Connect them. DA, you think there's going to be a connection? Do we think that George Webb, maybe he was onto something?
Good Lord, you're making me so nervous.
Why?
This is because, again, I tend to spend time with things before I just go with it, and you're like you're pushing me out of my comfort zone for sure. But hey, it's kind of cool.
You know what, DA? Sometimes you you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. This
Right?
might be one of those moments.
This is one of those moments.
See, okay, here we go. Obviously, Coberger criminology at WSU, the University Connection of Washington State. It says the academic apparatus. Well, the DARPA grant alert, WSU faculty connected to DARPA-funded emotion detection and AI surveillance behavioral modeling. What did George Webb talk about? This overlaps directly with the kind of psychological profiling Coberger appeared to be doing. All right, now we look at Kopacka. He was killed on campus at WSU weeks before Coberger's arrest. As we know, there's been multiple attempts to trace his unit deployment. It showed redacted or inaccessible logs suggesting possible involvement in a classified Hummant ops. The key
that's a term from that's a term from my days in top secret stuff.
What does that mean?
Human intelligence.
Oh,
that's what Humant is.
Yeah. All right. The reports buried suggest Kopacka had been contacted by federal agents. Some say it was about his past. Others claims it was a wellness check. Classic disinformation fog. Travis Decker, the shadow signal. Let's see what this says. Decker is the least visible of the three by design. He's listed in obscure DoD contractor directories as PSYOP adjacent, having received training in psychological warfare and foreign influence detection. The connective tissue is that several people pushing alternative theories claim Decker worked through academic military research nodes. His name appears in FOIA rosters of attendees at behavioral influence and social engineering workshops run by defense contractors. The alleged connections, he may have worked with contractor liaisons at WSU and University of Idaho, specifically tied to student psychological testing for early detections of threat vectors. Decker's digital footprint is scrubbed, minimized, or buried, which usually indicates one of the three things: Black Ops Underground, WITSEC, psychological operations functionary. So hang on. Trying to just read through this. Was this okay? So I have to work through this prompt. What were you saying?
Somebody said that I saw my name pop up. They said Devil's Advocates Once Upon a Crime Time is playing your video now. I was just sorry. I just was reading out loud. My mouth has to move with my reading skills for some reason.
That's okay. That is okay. All right. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, Hive. I'm just going to do this and DA. Then we can get back. We could go right up to the nice, cozy, safe comfort zone of
the same place where DA feels a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, we could talk about the PCA. Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty good with that. I'm pretty good at
that. Okay.
This all started because I said, "Yeah, I got this email," and you're like, "Show me the email." And next thing we know, we're off on this whole.
So,
thing.
Yeah, just remember you did this to us. This is not Bernie, this is DA. So, the research labs of interest. It says Sleep and Performance Center, the Department of Criminal Justice Criminology, and then the College of Nursing, because they received DoD funding for veteran trauma research. They conducted experiments on PTSD symptom modulation via behavioral intervention, which possibly interface with veteran subjects like Kopacka. The funding network. I know that I'm skimming through this. I just want to see. Okay, so this is a little bit odd. Now it's starting to list out doctors. And it says these are not accusations. These are just links to funding or research that intersect eerily with our three subjects. There's 3 doctors listed, funded by NIJ, NIH, DOD. I mean, this is pretty crazy what it can find, DA.
Yeah. Yes.
So here's where it says, see, now this, I get scared when I see
where it gets really dark.
Yeah. It says some researchers on WSU payroll were once contractors for human terrain systems, a military social manipulation experiment used in Iraq and Afghanistan. FOIA requests related to Coberger's Reddit survey are being stonewalled. Sign it may have been passed through. Kopacka's mental decline. I don't know if we're going to find anything in such a short time, and I don't want to do that while you're just sitting there while I do the live dig. So that'll be one that we'll save, Hive. But DA, you don't got to be afraid to bring up the video. I mean, I like that stuff, but I just think, like, can I ask you an honest question? And you don't have to answer anything. You don't have to answer it in the way that I think or that you think I'd want you to answer it. Just answer it honestly.
All right.
Is PSYOP completely off the table for you?
No,
Okay.
not completely off the table. It's a lower risk, but it's not completely off the table.
And when I say PSYOP, just remember, Hive, I don't mean that nobody died. People can die in a PSYOP. People can die in a false flag. But the reason why I wanted to ask that question to get us back on track is because if you look at this case and any other high profile crime, what are the first things? And let's get back to that narrative thing, because I do think that that's important. What do you think is the first thing that always happens in a high profile crime or a like world news story? As far as the news, we're talking news.
You're asking the audience.
I'm asking you.
Oh, fuck.
Like what patterns do you notice? Like when you're watching the news and it's breaking news, what is one thing that you have seen lately? Like I'll give you.
I mean, the media is sensationalist, right? So they jump on sensationalism first. They want to get it, the shock value, so that people are immediately tuned in. That's the first thing I think of when anything happens. Yeah. So that's my first thought: is any kind of tragedy that has shock value, the media jumps all over and wants to put it out there as every second of the day, some horrific thing that happened and put it out there.
I guess so to kind of break it down more granularly, have you ever noticed that it's always like there's some sort of stereotype that first gets kind of floated out there? Is this terrorist? Is this vigilante?
Mm-hmm.
A martyr? Is it the one as of late has been, it's a loner with a troubled past.
Yeah. And a manifesto usually.
And a manifesto. But there's themes to all of these ones that always make the world news.
Yeah.
And it's like, you start to wonder, like, are these crimes selected to make the world news? I'm genuinely wondering, is it the best story or is it the most useful story? And that's a disgusting thought, but I'm serious, because I think sometimes even I get sucked in when you see some breaking news and it's like, oh, was that a terrorist attack? Or like, are they just maybe saying that there's a potential for a terror attack? And then it comes out, nope, it wasn't, but they still got that initial push. Everybody thought it. I don't know.
I mean, this is where I started in 2012, which was that the rash of mass shootings seemed to be an agenda. They wanted everybody in America thinking that everybody was going to shoot up another public place, and you began to wonder, you start to ask those questions. Is this a narrative that they want to push for some reason, that everyone, mass shootings are on the rise and everybody needs to worry. We need to have everybody turn in their guns and whatever their agenda might be. It's, and then you start to ask yourself, are they pushed narratives? Are they funded by black ops? Did somebody actually do some crime in order to get the attention and the national dialogue on whatever topic they wanted it to be on, sometimes as a diversionary tactic away from some other big news that they don't want you paying attention to. So if they get something high profile going, and then you're not watching the Middle East, or you're not watching some big collapse of 23andMe and all of their CEOs stepping down, or whatever the thing is that they don't want you looking at, they come up with some mass distraction. But
it's like they flood the news cycle.
Yes.
Yeah. Another thing in addition is like, it's an unprovoked attack. I feel like they have buzzwords.
Yeah. Yes. Sure.
They control the timeline a lot.
It's fear mongering. They want people. I feel like a lot of the narrative, they want people to feel afraid. So if it's unprovoked, if it has no meaning, it could be anybody could have been attacked. It's great for the news because it makes everybody afraid. Oh my God, that could have been me. Like I literally could have just been killed because this could have happened right next to my house. And if they can use those words that it was completely random and make you afraid, fear mongering does great for them.
So that would we be in agreement that like that's like step one? If we could wrap all that up in a bow, it's step one. They get the buzzwords, they get the stereotype, they get the fear mongering, and then I feel like they always seem to have some expert commentary on there right after. That some person that's just so happens to be in studio that's an expert on this, that just they omit key context as well.
Yes. Well, if you're, and I know you're a conspiracy theorist, so you know about the problem, reaction, solution thing, which is that you create a crisis, and then you offer a solution that you've had in place all along. And when people clamor for safety because you just created a crisis, and they're like, "Oh my God, what are we going to do?" You're like, "I have an idea. Let's put in new sweeping government controls where we can spy on everything you do to keep you safe." "Oh, that sounds great. Let's do that." And they're like, "Thank you for
Exactly
for being sheeple."
It's exactly right. And how are they able to do that? How are they able to get that? Well, the other thing too that I've just thought is very weird about certain crimes is like there's a synchronized approach by the media. Like they all find, have you noticed that? Like any of the big channels, and I understand that they're owned by the same people, but like right away they are lockstep on what their narrative is. And that's why I've said I don't think I could ever be like a journalist for like those type of organizations, because you just are getting told what to think, what to say, how to say it, when to say it. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just, it's odd because then it's just like this powerhouse of like narrative coming at you.
I'm sure you've seen that meme that not a meme, I don't know if it's the right word, but you've seen that video where there was a very, very, very unique scripted thing about the news, and then they would play every single news station.
Oh, we watched that last night.
Adding another, and they're all repeating the same script. They're all literally reading a script, but they're acting like it's something they're just coming up with on the fly, and it's like the same words. Everybody's been given the same script.
Yeah,
it's
and
hilarious.
The other thing that I've always wondered, and now, like, let me ask you this: what do you think it is about the Idaho 4 case that you personally had your eyes open to that you hadn't maybe thought about too in depth before? What do you think from a general public standpoint, most people, maybe if they weren't awake, would have been woken up to?
I'm not sure where you're going with that question. I mean,
you know how I talk about like the red pill? What for you personally was your red pill of like the Idaho 4, like spidey senses going off? And then what do you think it was for like the general, I guess, public? Because I'm talking people that maybe they're not contrarian thinking. People call them, you know, conspiracy theorists. Like for me, the full on, this is bigger than just being lied to, was the narrative planting outside the Moscow PD about Steve G and Chrissy when they start talking about the IGG, and it might not be him. It could be a family member and the digital footprint.
Yeah. I don't know. I think my biggest wake up moment was when they started to narrow down the time frame, and I thought to myself, "There's no fucking way one person did all that in the amount of time that they're saying." Which then, for the first time, opened up my idea to, wait a minute. So if one person can't do it, then who could do it, and what was going on? And that's when I started to like look at a lot of the alternate suspects. So for me, it was more of the, you really going to say all that happened in the space of about 8 to 10 minutes and on 2 different floors of a house of 6 people? And that's when I was like, something fucking stinks about this story. But, you know, for me, that was it.
That was it? What do you think it was for the public? Because I saw a lot of people saying like the no bodies.
Yeah, that was a lot of people have pointed out that they didn't see any bodies come out. We've seen no autopsies and all of that. I don't know. Like, this has been a case that's enraptured a lot of people, and I think for completely different reasons. And I don't know that, is there a common theme you think that people, you know, that most people look up to on it? I don't know.
Let's ask the Hive. Hive, type out for you. What do you think? The 8-hour delay.
Yeah, right. That's a big one. That's a big one.
Who just said that? Hillariette, that is true. Or the 911 audio being released, just kind of hearing it for the first time. No mentions of blood. Oh, I could also see the house being demolished as one. But DA, while that's coming in, are there any updates on the Luigi case or anything else you're looking into? Something exciting here.
I nothing really on the Luigi case. We're still waiting for Pennsylvania to make a ruling on the arrest, whether that was legal or not. There was a picture of, Luigi from prison that all the women are clamoring about because they like the way the guy looks. And I don't remember if I talked to you about the Rex Heuermann thing, but there was some recent stuff I found that Rex Heuermann allegedly was at a party with cops that were with underage girls back in the 90s, and that him and his wife were swingers, and that they had sex parties, and that one of the girls was seen running from, I mean, just weird shit. And I'm like, and at first I would have thought, that's got to be nothing, but no, it's literally like the attorney for Shannon Gilbert was the one that brought a former sex worker out to say, yeah, I saw Rex Heuermann back when I was a young girl, and there was a cop at the party, his name was James Burke and whatever. So that's some new shit for me. I'm going down that rabbit hole, learning all that shit, trying to see if there's real teeth to that, because again, and by the way, with that story, why it sounds crazy, I think the current chief of police was actually right beside the attorney when he's giving this story about, yeah, Rex Heuermann may have been involved in sex parties back in the 90s, and there was cops involved and all kinds of crazy shit. And then you start to wonder what the hell's going on with that case. So nothing huge. I'm still working on the Rex Heuermann case, the Gilgo Beach thing. It's starting to get more and more people interested, I think, and so that's cool. But there's that Luigi case I feel is going to really pop off, but it's just dead right now because there's no new filings, nothing going on. We're completely in a silent thing. We've been in the silent thing for about a month, waiting for something to happen in that case, and there's just nothing going to talk about.
I just saw a super interesting headline about the Luigi case, and it had something to do with like, can anybody make sense of what this, I can't remember it. It was like only, it was a headline about like only an experienced author would be able to, unravel Luigi's story or motive. And I started thinking about how you were talking about, like, with kind of like, was it a game? Like, your theory on that the first time you brought it up was crazy. And I don't know if you want to rehash that. If there's anybody that has not followed the Luigi case, that still is one where I feel like maybe the Hive would find interest in if they didn't tune in for that first time. Because do you still remember the details about how
I do, and it is kind of your wheelhouse, right? It is the Hive kind of thing. In the early stages, Luigi Mangione had formed a game club at the University of Pennsylvania called Upgrade, which is the University of Pennsylvania Game and Research and Environment or something like that, Upgrade. And so when the shooting happened, there was strange things that had game elements to it. Like, for example, a bag of Monopoly money was found inside Central Park. And then there was the fact that, Luigi Mangione was arrested in Altoona, Pennsylvania, which was a stop on the Pennsylvania Railroad. And he was arrested in Altoona, Pennsylvania at a McDonald's that used to have the Monopoly game. He had a website on Twitter that had the Pokemon Breloom, which the character and the number was 286, I think it was, which it happens to be the denial of claims code for health insurance. And so there was all of these little Easter eggs that almost was like, you're like, is this a group of gamers who decided to make change in the world, and then they're leaving Easter eggs for people who are gamers and can follow the clues, little hints about Luigi and Mario, because again, Luigi Mangione allegedly gave a false identification to police officers of the name Mark Rosario. I have said that sounds a lot like Mario, Mark Rosario, Mario. So was he trying to make a play off of that? Is Mario, who's player one, still on the loose, and Luigi Mangione is player two, helping the shooter who got away in Central Park? Did they do a little shuffle inside the park? And literally the shooter went into Central Park and they lost him off camera for quite some time, and then somebody leaves the park that looks like the shooter, and they were all over that guy. The question is it the same person, or was there a group of people who dressed up the same and pulled a little shuffle inside Central Park, and the shooter just simply changed into street clothes and walked out, and all of the feds went the wrong direction looking for somebody that looked like him? So is there a big huge game afoot? And there's lots of evidence that there may be some kind of game element to it, that they're playing the feds.
And look at what Sherlock Rome's just put on screen. He says Monopoly was invented to teach people the dangers of capitalism, which fits the crime.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I remember when you told me that, I'm like, holy shit. So I guess, is it, and I don't follow the Luigi case more than the headlines and what I see you put out, but like, would you say the general consensus is that Luigi 100% is the guy that pulled the trigger, or is he the guy playing the role that's going to take the fall if it's that giant kind of conspiracy octopus tentacle web?
Well, again, another thing we didn't mention too much was the movie How to Blow Up a Pipeline, which was a recent movie, right?
Sorry, I'm just laughing at Sherlock Holmes. Like, we are all on a new list tonight. Woo! And then you just say How to Blow Up a Pipeline. Like,
yes, but that's not going to help our algorithm at all. But yeah, How to Blow Up a Pipeline was a movie. Well, it was a nonfiction book that was turned into a fiction movie about a group of individuals in their 20s who decided that they were going to perform an act of industrial espionage and blow up an oil pipeline because it was damaging people. And they had concluded that protests don't do any good, that activism doesn't do any good, that they needed some kind of form of violence in order to actually make social change. And so the group of people decided that they were going to let one person take the fall for everybody. And in this case, it was somebody that basically I think might have had a terminal illness and was going to die anyways. And they're like, fuck it, I'll just take the fall for everybody so that everybody else can get away with this and walk scot-free. So in the early stages, I was asking that question. If this is a group of gamers, are they literally playing some grand game of how to blow up a pipeline? A group of people got together and they conspired and said, Luigi Mangione will take the fall for the group of us so that the shooter can get away and do it again. And I won't be surprised if during Luigi Mangione's trial that a shooter doesn't strike again and another CEO gets shot. And now that's not going to let Luigi Mangione just suddenly walk. It's like, oh, I guess the adjuster, because that's what they used to call him, the adjuster, because he was adjusting claims denials. If the adjuster is still on the loose, it doesn't mean Luigi gets to walk. But did Luigi Mangione conspire with a group, or did he have a group of people who set him up to take the fall, and he didn't realize he was going to take the fall? So I think, to answer your first question, which is there a general consensus? I think there is a general consensus. Most people feel that Luigi Mangione did do what he's accused of doing. They're on the fence about whether or not it was a group of people and he's the fall guy or something like that. There are still quite a few people who don't believe that Luigi Mangione could have even possibly been the shooter, and therefore they're on the fence about, well, what does it mean that he got picked up then? But so I don't know. I think majority of people think he did it. Now they're just trying to figure out why and how they feel about it. Now that he's done it. But.
Do you ever feel like, so here's my 2 cents. This is an uninformed opinion. Like, I don't follow this case, like I just said. But one of the things that I noticed on social media is that it almost seemed, and see, now devil's advocate, I'm out of my comfort zone saying this about a case that I don't know very well.
Nice.
But from a social media standpoint, it seemed like very coordinated when the tides turned to like almost social geoengineering, where all of the rage towards the healthcare system now was funneled through Luigi. Like, you went on TikTok or you went on social media, like it was getting out of hand, where like people were just very openly saying like good, like, and
right.
Hold back.
Right.
But it seemed like it all turned at the same time. Like, it was like almost ironic, then it was rage, and then it's like, oh shit, like, dude, this might get more violent.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. It's a difficult case for me because, again, if Luigi Mangione did it, there's and this is the part that I always have a hard time explaining. It's very hard to talk about, which is that there's a group of people who feel that it was justifiable homicide. Again, the logic would be this. Brian Thompson was in charge of the United States' largest healthcare provider, which was leading the way in denial of claims and was literally killing thousands of people that need coverage and need life-saving techniques. And they were having AI. They literally used AI to automatically reject claims, and people would die while waiting and fighting claims for things that they should be cared for. So did Luigi Mangione feel that this was, and there's hints that he did do this. There's hints that he viewed this as an act of terrorism that the health insurance industry has waged on America, and therefore fighting back and killing Brian Thompson is just an act of war. It's a self-defense thing. It's not murder. It's they fired the first shots, so I'm firing the next shot, and trying to wake up America that this is a war, that they're literally the upper class is waging war on America and fucking us for money and stakeholders' profits and making money off of your deaths, and somebody should be mad and rise up and fight the system. So, and that's tough, because then you get into the whole, are you trying to say that you believe in anarchism? Do you believe in vigilantism? Do you think everybody should just go out and shoot everybody because they think you did the wrong thing? It just gets into a real shit show. It's very hard for me to talk about the subject and educate people on the bigger issue without making it sound like you're trying to advocate for violence. But.
Which is interesting, though, because what you just said at the end there, we're not advocating for violence.
Right.
But interestingly enough, there's been no conversations about better policy. People want like Nuremberg style trials for this shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's interesting. It's not like if you guys just changed this one thing, the rage would go away. burn it down has been right. I mean,
Yeah, no, it's disturbing. The shareholders of United Healthcare have literally sued the company because they're not getting the profits they were promised, because the stock took a dive after their CEO was shot and killed, and the shareholders are pissed and saying, "You've told us we were going to get X number of profits. I don't care that your CEO got shot and killed. Where's my profits? You promised me." And they're suing the company for not realizing the profits they were told. And the way they were making the profit was using AI to deny more claims so that they'd be more profitable, so they wouldn't have to pay out money for saving people's lives.
fiduciary responsibility has no morals.
Yeah, and it's
ridiculous.
there's a big discussion to be had, and it's difficult to talk about. I think it's going to be a huge thing. It's one of those cases where I said, and this may be boring to your audience. So
No, it's not. It's not. You're good.
Which is that
it's not to me. I don't know if it is to them.
This has the potential to be a landmark case in America. If somehow Luigi Mangioni's attorneys are able to put the United States healthcare system on trial by saying that this was an act of self-defense, because by killing one man, Brian Thompson, he tried to affect change and stop the murder of thousands of individuals. There could be a defense that basically says it was an act of self-defense, and if that ever gets upheld by a jury, that we can understand why shooting Brian Thompson might have been seen as a heroic thing, an act of self-defense to try to save lives. That could be a landmark case in America. This could change a lot of things if they allow that to be used that way.
And I just looked up, for people that are curious about some statistics on specifically United Healthcare, whether it's denied or delayed claims. 60,000 plus people die annually in the United States from denied or delayed healthcare. Hundreds of thousands go bankrupt.
The number one cause of bankruptcy in America is medically related bills. That is the number one cause of filing bankruptcy in America.
So the whole being like Luigi being a proxy for millions of voices, is that a stretch?
No.
And in fact, court afraid to let it happen.
Right. And this is why people are saying New Yorkers are spreading the word about jury nullification. Jury nullification is basically you go into a court system and the feds prove that not Brian Coberger. Look, I got my cases mixed. The feds prove Luigi Mangioni shot Brian Thompson. And you know what the jury could say? Yeah, you're right. He did. And we don't fucking care. Not guilty. And that would be a huge statement, because the jury has the ultimate decision, and they can literally say, the jury could literally say, by the letter of the law, you're right. Luigi Mangioni shot Brian Thompson. We agree. And the verdict is not guilty.
Think about from a legal standpoint, when I was just asking about, would the courts let that happen? Because how many precedents is that set now for like justifying what you did and what is the provoking behind it? Right? Like you'd have to, that would change a lot of laws maybe, or that would change a lot of stuff if like I was provoked to do this. At least in Luigi's case, it would.
Yeah, and this was the this was the subject of a Law and Order fictional episode where they depicted Luigi Mangioni in a fictionalized way, and it was funny because the attorney for Luigi Mangioni is on the advisory board for Law and Order. So this fictionalized story called Folk Hero, which was about Luigi Mangioni, the whole argument is that if you shoot somebody in self-defense, that's not called murder. It's self-defense. And so if you can prove that you shot somebody in self-defense, it's self-defense. It's not murder, and you don't go to jail for it. In addition, most states also have the caveat that if you shoot somebody and kill somebody because they were killing somebody else and you stopped them from killing somebody else, you also are not convicted of murder for shooting and killing somebody else who was in the commission of killing somebody right in front of you. You can stop them. And as the fictional show stated, they had a really interesting judge who said, the law didn't anticipate this situation, but it's true. Nothing in the law states that the person who you're trying to stop killing somebody has to be standing right in front of you. So could it be applied that Brian Thompson could be shot and killed, and he therefore was stopped from killing thousands of people? And those thousands of people don't have to be standing right in front of you, and you have to be watching Brian Thompson killing those people in front of you, but you could still save lives by killing the man, because nothing says they have to be standing in front of you when you saved their life.
Right. And I was looking up what counts as provocation. Is that how you'd say it? Is that how you pronounce it? Because I always think like provoking, but provocation is the legal term. They legally, traditionally, it's defined as an immediate personal threat, an insult, a threat to bodily safety, or a sudden emotional shock that causes a temporary loss of control. This isn't that. It's like a slow death, suffocation, morals. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. I'm curious to see what happens with that. And without going and putting my tinfoil hat back on, I don't want to do that again with that case, because I feel like that is probably a case where you could easily put a tinfoil hat on.
I've got a quick question for you, by the way, not related to any of the cases directly, but asking about a StreamYard question that you might know the question about.
Yeah.
I'm streaming this simultaneously to my folks. I see somebody commenting in the comments, and I get this all the time, that they are signed up for notifications for my channel and they don't get notified when I go live. Do you have people complaining about that, or am I doing something wrong?
I've heard that. So I've heard people say that, but it's usually when they're not. I think you have to be subscribed for the notifications to go off. So I wonder if they maybe just get that they request the notifications, but they're not subscribed. That's one answer. I don't know if that's all of them, but that's one that I've heard is pretty common.
And somebody else told me that when you click on the notification bell, there's an option for like notifications all, or there's a default. And so if you want to click on the notifications all to get notified about lives. But I don't know, whatever the case is, I get told all the time, I don't understand why I keep missing when Devil's Advocates go live, because I never get told by YouTube that he's going live. And I'm like, is it me that's doing something wrong, that I'm not broadcasting correctly, or what? Why are people not getting notified that want to get notified? Obviously, if they don't want to get notified, they're not going to.
I wonder if it has to do with their phones allowing notifications, like in the settings aspect of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's kind of been a tinfoil hat stream.
Oh.
So you know what?
I just was saying, yeah, this has been a night, man. With the
Yeah.
we've gone down some rabbits.
We could have gone, yeah, we could have. I'm glad that I pulled myself out of that the triangle of Kopaka, Coberger, and Decker. Probably have another 3-hour stream like we did yesterday. But so this one's probably more of not so much a tinfoil hat, but I don't know if people understand how much effort is put into the psychology of a grocery store layout. Like we all know, like at eye level, they put certain foods. Everyone says don't shop the aisles, like shop the perimeter of the store for like healthy foods. But I was looking some of this stuff up like back in college, even when I was going to minor in nutrition for some reason. Fell through. But anyways, it made me start thinking, like, when I go to try to do these tinfoil hats, like, what is it for? And I found an article that says they put the produce up front because it's like a moral license. It's not for convenience. It gives your brain a false sense of health. That way, by the time you get to the snack aisle, you're like, well, shit, I already grabbed some kale. This is fine. The reward aisles are always placed they're placed on purpose. The maze effect, we all know, like the checkout line's a psychological trap with like, they put the candy bars, the sodas right before you
right
check
at eye
out.
level. Yeah, right at eye level as you're standing in there for last minute purchase. Yeah.
But what's interesting is I've done this so many times where I'll go in, let's just say like Mrs. Birdie needs me to go pick up milk. Okay. I never just leave with milk. I have Oreos. I got deodorant, maybe a couple lottery tickets. I don't know. Like can you go into the grocery store and just buy one thing?
I can. I'm focused. I go in and I shop. I do my thing and I get out and complain all the time about my wife that gets sidetracked on shit, because I'm like, how do you not just go in and get what you? I went in for a soda. I got a soda. I left. How do you come out with 15 things? So that's just me. But.
Well, and I think we were talking about too, like how brands, like the certain colors they use. It's really not who has the best brand. It's who's got the strongest trigger psychologically, like with the colors and the wavelengths that your eyes read it at. But here's what I wanted to talk about. There are real positions known as retail psychologists. It's a real industry. They help brands manipulate human behavior via sensory control. Grocery stores are the #1 market for this. Neuromarketing is now a multi-billion-dollar field. Former store designers have openly admitted to using operant conditioning techniques, where they had academic studies done to show how a store layout triggers dopamine and cortisol fluctuations. Mm-hmm. So essentially it's conditioning you like a damn lab animal they can get you to crave sugar, obey ads, associate consumerism with emotional stability. And it's not by accident.
Nope.
We're always under some sort of psychological attack.
Yes.
So that's the tinfoil hat of the day. DA, it was fun as always. Devil's Advocate is a guest on Monday nights. I go live at 7 p.m. Central. Don't forget to check out the Discord and my YouTube link. If you're interested in being a part of the Hive Mind Roundtable, that'll be July 27th. Shoot me an email at birdiebombshell00@gmail.com. Same thing with any Hive Mind finds. Devil's Advocate channel is right here. If you guys are interested in some of his content, if my computer ever would load, here it is. Go ahead, subscribe for him, and check out his 2 new videos that he put up today, as far as the top 5 reasons Bill Thompson offered a plea deal, or the top 5 reasons Brian changed his plea to guilty. Any
Yeah,
thoughts?
Thank you so much for showing that. And I'll have to take some shots of Fireball next time I come on your show, because it just got a little crazy for me.
That's all right. I mean, dude, I've never seen you. You started to sweat that when you brought that up. I'm like,
I did. I was like, oh, what have I done? What have I done?
I mean, dude, I mean, you're amongst friends here. But no, I mean, even for me, I don't know enough about Decker to even know if that stuff was accurate. So unless there was something glaringly obvious, like Decker was enrolled at WSU during these ages, then I probably would have lost my shit. But,
right. That would have been an oh shit moment if I saw that too. But fortunately, we didn't see that. So otherwise, I would have been right with you. Like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? That's not a coincidence.
Yeah. And I have a quick, an exciting announcement. So I have been working with somebody who's going to help me get some guests on to the stream that are more of like people that are ex-law. Maybe they're like a whistleblower. Their story hasn't been told right. And my pitch, I wanted to share this with you all because I think it's powerful, is I genuinely believe that this is the stream for somebody who maybe feels like their story hasn't been told right, where people are going to listen. They're going to ask questions. They're not going to get interrupted. They're not going to get, booed off stage, whether they're a whistleblower, whether they're, like I said, they're a victim, they're a survivor, they're somebody in law enforcement, and they just want to share what they know. So I'm working on that, and I'm very, very excited for that. And I just wanted to give a shout out to the Hive, because that would not be an aspect of the pitch to get people to come onto the show. And I give all the credit to you guys. You guys are an awesome chat and an awesome Hive. I look forward to streaming every night. And Devil's Advocates, thank you for always popping up on Monday evenings. I will be back on tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Central.
All right. Thank you so much for having me once again.
Yep. Cheers, everybody.
Later.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.